There comes a time in life that arrives unannounced. It doesn't knock, doesn't signal, it simply appears, quietly. Usually after countless sleepless nights, broken dreams, and endless attempts to mend what refuses to shift. You've done everything, haven't you? You've been moving faster, pushing harder, meditating, journaling, visualizing, praying, organizing, but nothing changes. You lift your eyes to the sky and whisper, "Why does nothing seem to work?" Here's a difficult truth, yet one that holds freedom. You're trying to force alignment with tight fists, but the universe doesn't speak that language. It doesn't respond to pressure, it responds to release. Carl Jung once observed, "What you resist not only stays, it expands." So while you speak affirmations about a brighter future, your core vibration is crying out, "I'm lacking, I'm not enough, I'm scared." And that's the real signal you're sending out, because all you're doing hasn't become becoming. No, but trying to let go still has a tight, gripping energy. Your identity is locked into the fight against. And when your whole identity revolves around fixing, chasing, escaping, your reality reflects the very void you're trying to outrun. But what if the most powerful action now is no action? Not clinging, not proving, not hustling, but a full-bodied stop. Not from fear, but from faith. Not out of defeat, but out of inner knowing. Because it's in the pause that presence begins. In the stillness, the unconscious rises, and when you finally step out of the way, that's when deep healing begins. The psyche starts to restore itself, the shadow reintegrates, and life almost magically starts to realign.
It's within.
Without
We've
force.
been fed a myth that success is the reward for constant motion, that joy is found in endless striving, that if we just move faster, grind harder, push long enough, our dreams will eventually land in our lap. But Jung never urged us to run after anything. He challenged us to turn inward and ask, what am I truly pursuing and why? Because often the thing you're chasing isn't your deepest desire. It's just a distraction from a deeper ache. When your craving for love consumes your every thought, is it love you truly seek, or are you running from the ache of past abandonment? When you obsess over financial success, is it about prosperity, or are you still trying to prove yourself to people who once made you feel small? Jung wasn't here to motivate, he came to confront. He declared, until you bring the unconscious into awareness, it will rule your life, and you'll call it fate. In other words, if you don't expose your pain to light, that pain will shape your desires, and you won't even know it's happening. You'll keep chasing goals, convinced they'll make you whole, while unknowingly running in circles around your own wounds. But life doesn't deliver based on your wish list. It responds to your essence. If your essence is fractured, desperate, and unhealed, then every achievement will feel incomplete. Every goal will slip away, not because you don't work hard, but because the energy behind the effort is saying, I'm empty, I'm not worthy, I need this to prove something. And energy never lies. The universe matches your frequency. You ask, please let me experience love, but your energy whispers, I don't know how to feel love. And life answers, exactly. That's why people burn out chasing connection, approval, success. Not because their goals are wrong, but because the self behind the goals is still bleeding. Obsession isn't about what you want. It's about what you believe is broken inside you. Here's a painful but powerful truth. Even if your dream came true today, you wouldn't be able to hold it. Your hands are still shaking from old pain. Jung didn't come to teach you how to manifest from ego. He came to guide you in unifying your soul, to show you you're not running after success, you're searching for wholeness. And here's the pivotal moment. Before asking the universe for more, ask yourself, what part of me still feels incomplete? Because once you mend that part, you stop chasing what was never truly yours, and you begin attracting what always was. This path doesn't demand abandoning your vision, it asks you to purify the energy behind it, to become someone who doesn't seek out of emptiness, but who radiates from a sense of inner fullness. That's when life stops testing you and begins trusting you. Many people wake each day believing that life is pushing them to their limits, that the universe is placing roadblocks to test their strength and patience. But there's a deeper truth. Life isn't testing you, it's reflecting you. You're not under examination, you're under reflection. Life doesn't echo your wants, it mirrors your state of being. Not your best affirmations, not the motivational content you consume, but your core identity, the silent pulsing belief beneath every decision you make. Jung knew this with piercing clarity. True healing begins the moment you face your own heart. Those who search outside are dreaming, but those who search within begin to awaken. So stop looking to the sky for omens. Start reading the signs that are already alive within you. Here's the raw reality. If your unconscious mind is crowded with fear, unresolved wounds, self-doubt, and shame, no number of positive mantras or glittering affirmations will rewrite your story. You can write "I am enough" 1,000 times. You can chant it till your voice disappears. But if your nervous system doesn't believe it, if your unconscious is still carrying the imprint of lack, then nothing on the outside will change. Because the unconscious doesn't lie. It holds every memory. It stores every fear. It governs your actions, even when you believe you're in control. Let's tell the truth. That tension in your chest when you imagine your dreams coming true, that anxious feeling when you visualize everything going right, that isn't intuition. That's your unconscious whispering. Do you really believe you're ready for this? This is why manifestations often feel delayed, not because the universe is cruel, but because your energy is quietly saying, "I'm still not ready to receive." So what should you do? Pause. Stop pleading. Stop spiraling. Stop coding inner chaos with shallow positivity. True transformation doesn't come from doing more, it comes from being more present. Slow down enough to actually hear the quiet voice within you. When fear arises, don't numb it with another podcast or a scroll through social media. Sit with it. Listen, because each fear holds a key. Every hesitation carries insight. Your unconscious is always speaking, but are you still enough to hear it? Here's the paradox you've been avoiding. The moment you release the need to fix, chase, or control, the moment you drop your human impatience and trust divine rhythm, that's the moment real change begins. That's when your energy aligns, the unconscious softens, and the universe finally responds, "Now you're ready." You weren't meant to chase alignment, you were meant to become it. And that journey begins in silence.
Letting go isn't failure. You don't release because you gave up. You release because something inside of you woke up. You saw the truth. Control was never yours to begin with. Detachment doesn't mean you stop caring. It doesn't mean nothing matters. It means your energy is no longer leaking into spaces it was never meant to occupy. It's the sacred inner whisper that says, "I've done my part. Now I surrender the rest." And no, you can't fake that. You can post that you've moved on. You can pretend to be unbothered. But if you're still checking your notifications every few minutes, hoping for a sign, your unconscious already knows the truth. The universe doesn't listen to your words. It tunes into your vibration. If that vibration still cries out, "I need this to feel whole," life will echo that void. Detachment isn't the absence of longing. It's the absence of dependency. It's the deep-rooted truth that says, even if this never comes, I am still complete. And ironically, that's when everything begins to move. Not because you forced it, but because you finally stopped resisting it. The universe responds not to neediness, but to the frequency of wholeness. So if you're stuck in longing, aching, and hoping, pause. Not to distract yourself, but to ask the deeper question. What part of me believes that this one thing will fix everything? That part doesn't need to be fixed. It needs to be seen, not by your acts, not by the world, not by your past, by you. Because when you finally see yourself clearly, without judgment, without shame, you no longer beg the world to reflect back your worth. You become your own reflection. And that's where real transformation begins.
Stop chasing, stop pleading, stop performing. This is your invitation to stand still, fully present, fully whole, fully real. And then comes the unexpected moment. After you surrender, after you let go, after you quit grasping, nothing happens. No miracle, no magical message,
You wake up and the silence is still there. No new opportunity, the heart still aches, the phone stays quiet, and a voice from the depths asks, was any of this even worth it? That's where most people turn back, because we've been taught that letting go creates instant results, that when you clear space, something good should immediately take its place. But the universe doesn't operate on your deadlines. It responds to your energetic readiness. Before delivering what you asked for, it waits to see, who are you now that you've stopped needing it? That's when you find yourself in the in-between, the void, where the past has crumbled, but the future hasn't yet arrived. It's a space without maps, without evidence, a place that offers no confirmation you're on the right path. Just you, your breath, your thoughts, and a silence so loud, it forces you to trust what you cannot yet see. Jung called this space the creative void. In every form of chaos, there is a deeper order. Even when nothing seems to be moving outside, your soul is doing sacred work on the inside. It's not a pause, it's a reset. The unconscious is rewriting the script. Old patterns are breaking apart. New foundations are quietly being laid. Your nervous system is learning how to hold what you once only begged for. But here's the trap. Because you don't see results, your ego panics. It whispers, this isn't working. And if you believe it, you'll sabotage the entire process. You'll rush back into the old, try to force what was never yours to force, and block the very thing that was on its way to you. The void isn't punishment, it's purification. It strips away every illusion you leaned on, the need for approval, the illusion of control, the obsession with outcomes, until what remains is you, raw, honest, whole. And when you reach that depth, everything changes. You no longer manifest from lack. You begin to embody. You stop seeking love and you become love. You stop begging for peace and live from it. You stop looking outward and start anchoring within. The universe can feel the shift because energy doesn't lie. You can tape affirmations to your mirror. You can make mood boards, chant mantras, do full moon rituals. But if your frequency says, I'm still scared it won't happen, the universe listens to that, not your words. The void is the ultimate question. Can you feel the future you want before it appears? Can you feel wealthy before the money arrives? Worthy before the relationship comes? Free before the circumstances change? If you can, you collapse time. You turn stillness into magnetism. You become the energy of your desire, and life cannot help but respond. But first, you must survive the silence, the unknown, the sacred waiting. So if you're in that space now, stay. Don't distract, don't run, don't panic. Breathe, ground, listen. Because when you honor that quiet, when you stop needing signs and start living as if you already are, that's when life responds differently. This time, it echoes your truth.
Your desires aren't random. They aren't here to tease you. They aren't here to punish you. They are reflections, clues from your soul, calling you not to chase something outside, but to awaken something within. Jung knew this. He taught that our wants come from the unconscious, and that they're not always about the external outcome. They're signals for internal healing. You don't want money just for money. You want to feel safe. You don't crave a relationship for company. You want to feel seen. You don't long for success to be admired. You want to feel worthy. The problem isn't desire. It's the dependency you've tied to it. That's why manifestation often turns into anxiety. Worry dressed up as spirituality. Refreshing your inbox, rereading messages, analyzing every silence, every shift in energy, and calling that divine guidance. But Jung, especially through individuation, taught us something different. It's not about perfection, it's about integration. Wholeness isn't becoming something new, it's remembering who you already are, your light and shadow, your confidence and your insecurity, your strength and your sensitivity. They all belong, even the parts you try to hide, especially those. Because the moment you allow yourself to be both powerful and vulnerable, you stop waiting to be filled.
You become fullness itself. That's the truth you need to let sink in. You don't attract what you beg for. You attract what you've made peace with. So next time the impulse to chase arises, pause, not out of laziness, but from wisdom. Close your eyes, breathe. Ask yourself, what part of me still thinks this will fix me? When you realize you are already whole, already worthy, already here, obsession fades, and what arises is clarity, peace, and authentic attraction. You no longer need life to prove your worth, and that's exactly when life starts showing up differently, because now your energy says, I am whole, I've arrived, I've remembered. That's the shift. That's how you stop manifesting from scarcity and begin magnetizing from alignment. You can spend your life chasing signs, trying to decode divine timing with your anxious mind. Or you can do something radical. Stay grounded, stay silent, stay still, not from apathy, but from self-trust. Because once the inner work is real, you don't have to ask anymore. You don't need to beg. You simply become. Let's be honest, that version of you obsessively refreshing your phone, rereading old messages, wondering why things haven't shifted, that's not your soul speaking. That's your ego terrified of uncertainty. The ego needs control, timelines, proof. When it doesn't get it, it spirals. It makes up stories. It creates panic. It calls fear intuition. But it's not your intuition. It's just unhealed fear dressed as insight. Jung saw this firsthand. He lived it. He taught that life is a dance between ego and soul. The ego demands guarantees. The soul whispers trust. The ego says, I have to control this or I'll be hurt again. The soul replies, I've survived worse. Let's surrender. And here's the truth almost no one shares. The ego is obsessed with outcomes. The soul is concerned with alignment. The ego wants to know how. The soul only needs to feel truth. Because the soul isn't chasing, it's remembering. Jung once wrote, the greatest gift in life is becoming your truest self. But your truest self is not the anxious one, not the one counting likes or money or messages. Your true self moves with calm, speaks with certainty, acts with grace, doesn't hustle because it trusts the timing. To access that version of you, you have to learn how to pause in moments of panic and ask yourself, is this coming from fear or from my essence? If it's pressure, rush, fear, it's ego. If it's peace, calm, trust, it's soul. And no, this doesn't mean letting go of your dreams. It means letting go of your desperation, because desperation is noisy. Alignment is quiet. It doesn't grasp. It doesn't shout. It simply is. So if you're overwhelmed now, don't amplify the noise. Don't numb out. Don't self-attack. Close your eyes. Place a hand over your heart. Ask, what would my healed self do right now? Then do that. Not because it guarantees a result, but because it aligns you with your truth. Remember, you're not here to control everything. You're here to co-create. And co-creation doesn't come from panic. It flows from presence. Even when things are quiet, even when the path is unclear, even when your ego screams it's not working, that's exactly when the shift happens. Not because you forced it, but because peace became your home. And when peace becomes your home, everything meant for you finds its way there.
You won't build the life you want just by affirming the good parts of yourself. You won't call in abundance by ignoring the pieces of you that still carry pain, because the universe doesn't respond only to your desires. It responds to your wholeness. And wholeness means facing what you've avoided, not to shame yourself, but to reclaim yourself. Jung called this hidden part the shadow, not as something evil, but as the part of you that was suppressed, your repressed rage, your swallowed grief, the shame you carry, the fear you hide behind ambition. Most people think manifestation is about lists and mantras, but true manifestation, the kind that's real, grounded, sustainable, it doesn't come from fantasy. It comes from integration. Let's be real. When you panic about love, it's rarely just about love. It's about a wound whispering, if I'm loved, I'll finally be enough. When you chase money, it's often a voice inside saying, I won't be safe until I have more. And here's the trap. If your manifestations are rooted in fear, lack, trauma, then everything you call in will carry that energy. A partner who triggers abandonment, money that disappears as quickly as it came, success that feels hollow because you built it from fragmentation. Jung's legacy reminds us, the unconscious rules until it is made conscious. And when it's not, you'll mistake your patterns for fate. So stop asking, how do I attract more? And start asking, what inside me still believes I'm not enough? That's real shadow work. It's uncomfortable, but it's where liberation begins. This journey isn't about blaming the world. It's about becoming responsible for your own wholeness. It's about recognizing that all versions of you, even the hurting ones, deserve to be seen. And the moment you acknowledge your shadow, it stops sabotaging you in secret. You reclaim your power, your energy shifts. You stop creating from fear and start attracting through presence. This is more than spiritual talk. It's energy. It's nervous system work. It's becoming someone who no longer begs the world to fill a void, because the void is now light. You stop forcing. You start allowing. You stop performing. You start radiating. You don't ask for what you want. You become it. Jung's final message wasn't go create. It was go remember. All this time, you thought you were building something new, chasing love, success, peace, abundance. But what if the true work isn't about adding anything? What if it's about removing what was never you? You don't need fixing. You need remembering. You are not the anxious one, not the saboteur, not the one seeking approval. That's the survival mask. The real you, the one watching it all quietly, is already whole. It doesn't grasp, it doesn't beg, it simply exists, trusts, receives. And here's the sacred truth. When you finally stop forcing, when you finally release the grasp, when you quiet the noise and return to soul, you return to your natural frequency. One that never needed to prove anything. And that's when things begin to move. Not because you gave up, but because you came back to who you've always been. Whole, enough, ready.